What's good, YouTube? It's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another remake video. Today we're gonna go ahead and remake Post Malone's track Wow, so let's jump right into it. First things first, let's go ahead and change our tempo to 100 beats per minute. And we're gonna start off with the initial drum pattern that we hear. Let's go ahead and bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument, bring in that Wow drum kit. Not like a Wow drum kit, but you know, Post Malone's Wow drum kit. And we're going to go ahead and start off with the clap here. So I think it's on the 2s and 4s. I'm going to put one over here. It's a little long. Let's just repeat that. All right. On top of this, we're going to put in some reverb. We use Logic Space Designer. Just the default settings that load up. And we're just going to lower it to not as wet. All right, next let's go and duplicate this track. We're gonna remove the reverb. And let's go ahead and draw in the kick pattern. Going to duplicate that. All right, so that's our kick right over there. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this track. And we're going to draw in the vocal pattern that happens in this. It's like this vocal sample that I just took from the track itself because I didn't know exactly where it was from. And it goes something like this. Right over here. Just gonna open up our EXS24, set this to mono just in case that that overlaps each other. And on this, I'm gonna add in an echo. We're gonna go to Logic's echo plugin right over here, and let's pull back the feedback first of all. Pull up the dry, and we're going to pull back the wet value as well. Just to have a nice little delay in the background. All right, next I'm going to duplicate this track. Let's take off that echo. Let's draw in another MIDI region. We're just going to draw in something that goes in sort of on the off beats here. It's like a little percussion hit. I'm just going to duplicate that. Next, I'm going to duplicate this over here. We're going to copy that down. And we're just going to take the last hit and treat this track as an auxiliary track. We're going to go ahead and bring in Logic's echo. And we're going to put the dry all the way down because we're treating it like an auxiliary track, the wet all the way up. And we're going to delay that last hit here in the pattern. Let's see how this sounds here. So that's a little slow. Let's go to like a dotted and pull back the feedback a little bit. All right, so that sounds better like that. Next, let's go and create a track stack of all these tracks so that we can manipulate them all together at once. Because right now it's not sounding too good, but we're gonna get it sounding like the one in the track. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna put here is an EQ. We gotta filter it out because it's very dark sounding here. So we're going to go ahead and filter out a lot of the low end here. Like a tinny sound. Let's do a little bit higher octave there. And And then let's go ahead and cut out some of the top end here. Bring this up a little bit here. Alright, so that sounds good. And then we're just gonna sort of emphasize this area. Whoa, this area right over here. Where was I? About 192-ish. And I think this was a little bit higher here. So we're going to emphasize this area right over here. We're just going to take our EQ gain right over here and push that up to about 3 dBs, like that. Now we're kind of getting that sound that you hear at the beginning of the record. Let's go ahead and close that out. All right, next let's go ahead and go to Logic's delay, sample delay, stereo. And we're going to create this Haas effect that kind of widens up this entire pattern. So we're going to go over to milliseconds, and we're going to push this up just ever so slightly. Take a listen to the sound as it gets wider as I pull up the amount of milliseconds. Just widens up that sound. Something like that is good enough. And then finally, we're going to bring in another instance of Logic Space Designer. And let's go to a large space hall. And I want something, let's see here. Let's just go with this one here. I'll lower that completely. Not completely, but I want it a little bit. So there's our main pattern right there. Let's go ahead and duplicate that over. And I believe in the actual track itself, this cuts out here at the end. This stays, I think this cuts out as well. Just do it like that for now. And then over here is where that 808 from WoW comes into play. That sort of tinny, sort of mid-rangey 808. Let's go ahead and create that from scratch. Going to create a new software instrument track. Let's go ahead and bring in an instrument that we don't actually normally use here, Logic's monophonic synth. And let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. We're going to push this over to this guy right over here. Let's double click this. And let's draw in that pattern. All right, so it's gonna go up here. Let's just stretch this out a little bit. And that pattern is just going to duplicate itself. Let's go drag that over once again. Except this note is going to go down. Oh, sorry. Except this note is going to drop down. I think these notes actually switch up as well. No. Then we get something right over here. Let's go ahead and open up our IAMM monophonic synth right over here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to select this right here to get a higher octave. Should have drew it at a higher octave, but we can do it right there. I'm going to pull down our resonance. Just pull up our decay a little bit. Alright, so that sounds pretty much well good like that. Next, let's go ahead and open up an EQ. And we're going to do something similar that we did on the first half of the drums. We're going to go ahead and go to our low end and just filter out a lot of that low end. About 48 dBs per octave. Then we're going to go ahead and take out some of that top end here. As you can see, that sound is starting to come out. Let's go 48 dBs per octave. And we're really going to boost this mid-range right over here. So let's go ahead and boost this up quite a bit. All right, next let's go ahead and bring in some chorus. We're going to go to modulation chorus. So use the default setting right there. Next, let's go ahead and bring in Logic's overdrive, distortion overdrive. We're going to really push this sound over here. Push the tone up a bit. But let's lower this up. All right, finally, let's go ahead and bring in just some reverb over here. We're gonna do like a warp space here. Let's just use this bomb tail. We always use that one. And let's just bring down the wet value. All right, next let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And we're gonna bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer, and we're gonna bring in another 808. That 808 that we always use in a lot of tutorials to bring in that low end below that sort of tinny, sort of mid-rangey 808. Let's go ahead and actually just copy this over. It sounds something like this. Let's copy this over. All right, so let's go ahead and just copy over this 808 pattern. And let's go ahead and just go down to a lower octave. Ooh, I think that's good right there. Actually, maybe one more. All right, let's make sure that we're going to turn down our analog detuning down. Attack up so it's not so clicky. Pull down our sustain. Pull up our decay a little bit. Add in a little bit of drive, a little bit of distortion. All right, that sounds good. Let's go ahead and layer it up with our other 808. Open up an EQ. We're going to take out a lot of that top end so it doesn't clash. Next, let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. I'm going to create a new instance of the EXS24 Post Malone WoW drum kit. Make it nice and loud. And let's go ahead and draw in the hi-hat pattern. Very simple pattern. All right, so for the hi-hats, I'm just going to go over to my brush tool. And we're going to go ahead and paint in those hi-hats. It's just something simple like that. All right, let's go ahead and duplicate this track over here. And let's go ahead and draw in the snare once again. Actually, we just copy this down here. in a reverb once again. Take out this vocal, we don't want it there. Let's go ahead and duplicate this track over here. Oh, not that track. Let's duplicate this track. And we're going to layer up this sort of snare percussion hit. With the snap. Let's get a bit more punch. Let's go ahead and duplicate that track. We're going to take off the reverb. And let's go ahead and draw in our kick. Let's just change this over to a pencil tool. Make it louder. So I'm going to duplicate that. Let's go ahead and duplicate this track. And we're going to go ahead and bring this little percussion or some sort of effect that happens right here. Just like hits right here. It's like this little hit like that. All right, last what we're going to do right here is in the original track itself, there was a lot of like background vocals that was happening. I think Post Malone recorded it in and just sort of mixed it and put a lot of reverb on it. And so what I did here before the tutorial, I recorded in some vocals, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag those in. Here's one of them right here. And then recording a second one. I'm going to drag it in right here. Just create some dimension to the track. Let's go ahead and bring it in with everything else. Alright, so I'm going to put a pause on the video. I'm going to go ahead and arrange it and come right back. Alright, and we're back. So here's just a quick sort of arrangement I put together for the tutorial. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Listen to the remake we just put together, Post Malone's Wow. So that right there is the remake of Post Malone's Wow. For you Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session. Place that as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. For you non-Logic users out there, got your back as well. I'm going to go and export all the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that we used in this tutorial. You can find that entire playback in the description box below this video. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go ahead and talk in the comment section below. And if you did like this video, remember to thumbs up and share it. And if you're new time in Music Mogul or you haven't already, remember to hit that subscribe button for more good videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later, guys. Peace.